Hello everyone, welcome to my first YouTube tutorial and YouTube video actually in this channel. Today what we're going to do is we're going to scrape my favorite workout brand, Lululemon, and we're going to search for the price of my favorite leggings. Obviously it could be any other product that you want, but basically what we want to do is we want to alert ourselves whenever the price is below a certain price that we choose. We could obviously choose different condition to alert, but this is just a fun exercise to try it out, maybe to improve our programming skills. And yeah, feel free to let me know how you liked it or if you liked it in the comments below. And also feel free to check out the code on GitHub. I'll share it down below and detailed explanation on the Medium platform. So you could really go step by step and try it out yourself. So right here we see that we're in the Lululemon website. Again, could be any other website. And what I'm interested in is having those lovely leggings, but on a lower price. And specifically now I see that these colors are on discount, but I want to alert whenever there are new leggings on discount or whenever the price is a bit lower or whatever I want. So let's go ahead and check out how I can fetch the details from this website to my code. So I'm going to right click inspect. All right, and here we can see all the HTML data. Let's just go carefully here and search for what we need. I'm going to just move myself up here and let's just close everything. So we see that we have body. What else is open here? Page, I guess we should be down here. Okay, container, product detail, product wrapper. This is probably where all the information, and you can see here that it's all colored. So it's definitely here. Inside of it, we have row. Seems like everything is inside this row here. Then we have the image, which it's not interesting for us right now. Here, okay, product detailed content. Product detailed content, that's what we're interested in. So let's open this up. So basically all the content of this page is within here. We could remember that later on when we'll code it up. Now, here we have color, and seems like all the information about the prices is inside color. So let's just go ahead. We can also see that we have size here. It's also very relevant. If we want, we can add to the condition whether the size is in stock. But for now, let's just focus on the price. So I'm going to drill down, and I see I have two groups of color. One is the non-discounted one, the normal one. The second one seems to be the on sale. Let's just see if there is any difference between them. Okay, so here we immediately see that we have color and the price. And here we see that we have color, and we have to drill down. And we have the price under another class called markdown prices. That's important, and that's basically what we want to track. We want to see what's the price inside this markdown prices, and actually if it's available. So let's go ahead, structure our code, see what we need to do step by step, and then start doing it. Let's go ahead. All right, so now we are at a new folder I just created and opened in PyCharm. I just created an empty directory, and this auto-created main.py. You can also just create it yourself. I'm going to delete most of the stuff here, and what we're going to do as first thing is create a virtual environment, because in Python we always bundle up things together within a virtual environment. So if you don't have already installed pyenv and pyenv virtualenv, install it. If you're on Mac, you can just do brew install pyenv and pyenv virtualenv. Again, all the details would be linked to this video below. Then what we're gonna need is to install the Python version we would want to use. So I'm gonna use 3.9.0. So I would have to do pyenv install Python and then the number of the version. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to repeat this step, but I am going to start by creating the environment that I want. So here I would do pyenv virtualenv, then the number of the Python version. And then the name of the environment could be whatever you want. And it has been created. So now let's activate it. So pyenv activate, and then the name of the environment we just created. So that would be virtualenv. All right, now we have to set it up as an interpreter here. We'll have to add interpreter, then we can use existing environment. All right, found it, and gonna click OK. Now we have the interpreter set to our actual environment. That's good. So now after having the environment, let me just go, actually we don't need it right now. Let's just delete what's going on here and start structuring the code as we want it to be eventually. Things are a bit slow because I'm recording. I'm just going to use this later on. Now this step is not necessary, but just to make it clear what we want to do and what are the steps, let's just write it down. So first we're going to write what we're going to import. So import smtplib. So this will help us send the emails. Import SSL. This will help us create a secure connection when we're sending the email. We're also going to use the email library from Python. So email.message will import email message, and from requests HTML, we're going to import HTML session. Now, as you can see, this is the only one here that we don't have just straight out of the box with Python. So we will need to import it into our virtual environment. So we will need to do pip, install, and then this thing. All right, now that we've finished installing, we could start using it here in our code. I'm gonna close this here, and let's just organize our code into two classes. One would be the crawler, so the one that scrapes the data using this requests HTML, and the other one would be the emailer, the one that will help us generate the message and then also send it. So let's just, before everything, just put our URL. So now I'm going to create two classes. So class crawler would have two methods. One would be to scan the prices. For now, we're just going to pass. The other one, would be to alert. Let's just call it alert. Good. Now the second class would be the emailer. Now the emailer would have a bunch of properties within it, but again, we'll have only two methods. One would be to create email message, so create email. Again, we're just going to pass for now, and send email. Pass. All right. So now this is just gonna help us run it. So we will just need to click on this triangle in order to run this whole script. Again, this script could be done in much less lines of code. I'm just trying to also practice how to structure my code correctly. So why not? So now we're gonna initiate, let's call it crawler. That would be equal to our crawler. So we instantiate this one. Then we would have prices coming from crawler, scan prices. And then we would alert. All right. So that would happen eventually, right? For now, we can also make this private, and that's it. All right. Maybe I'm just going to move myself here. Okay, so let's start with scanning the prices and get the information. So we saw beforehand what are the names of the classes, and I have them written down so we don't have to look again. So we have session that we want to generate or to create. So this session would be an HTML session that we're going to use in order to scrape the data and basically have it within our console. So we have page that would be session.get URL. And URL is the one I wrote down here, and I forgot to put the equal sign. So that's a variable that just contains the URL that we want to scrape. And then we will have content of the page, which lies within this product detail content class name, so CSS class that we saw in the HTML. So again, we would do page.html. HTML here is part of this library that gave us HTML session, right? So .html.find. So within this HTML, we could find the class name, product, like this, detail, and content. And this would be a list for some reason, so we're gonna set it to true. Yeah, so that's gonna be a list because sometimes I guess it could be multiple items that we'll have with the same class. So we're gonna set up first true, and let's try to print it. So print just to see what we have here in the entire page. Content.text. And let's run it. Okay, so we literally can see the entire page here without the images, but we see all the text. That's pretty cool. All right, so within the page content, so within this class, we also saw prices. So that was underneath markdown prices. So what we want to have is return. So we want this scan prices to return the list of prices, because it could be one, it could be many. So we're just going to return content.find and then markdown prices. So let's just print out this thing beforehand. And we run it. Yeah, so we see it's a list. I guess that, again, sometimes we could have more than one of these. So let's just send all of them to ourselves. All right, so we can return it and then pass it to the alerts method, but we could also just have prices here. So let's just have prices as an empty list. And then let's say that for price.text, because we actually want the text and not this weird HTML object. So for price.text in, and then content.find, and not here, this would be the list. So we want to append to prices. So self.prices.append price. Price.text actually, sorry. And here would be for price. That makes more sense. So for each price, for each object or element inside this array that we just printed, we want to append to this prices list the text of the price. So let's just print self.prices and run it. Very nice. So we see that we only have one group of discounted colors within this group. Could be more, but that's one of them. All right. Okay, now let's continue. So here, after we scan the prices, we want to alert. So alert for now would just be printing out. So let's see. We want to loop over each one of the prices. So for price in self.prices, if, actually let's add here, sorry for the chaos, desired price. So we can start with just 100. And actually every time we initiate this class, we would want to initiate it with desired price. So self.desired price would be equal to the one we're passing in the function. Okay. So if price in self.prices, now we see that this whole string is the one we're trying to parse now. Let's just see int of price from the first one. So we have first one is, sorry, this is 0, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say we're interested in only the first two, so 59 would be enough for us. Yeah, 59. All right, so now I want to take this 59 or whichever number it would be, and we want to check if it's below or equals maybe the number that we want to pay for. So if this number is smaller or equal to self.desired price, then we want to alert. So discount alert. Let's see. Cool. So now we have a discount alert because our 90 here is actually bigger than 59, which we saw here in price. We can also have it here. So we can have an f string that has price, and then price is lower than desired price, and here we'll have self.desired price. Let's run it. Pretty cool. All right. So now instead of just console logging, we actually want to send an email alert. And for that, we would have to do a couple of things. One option is to use the Google API. And the easier option, or the other option, is just to use a simple new Google account that you reduce the security for. It's maybe not a good practice, but for now it's just a super simple way to test the code and to see that it works. We'll go ahead and create the email account, and then we'll put the details of this account here, only besides the passwords, because that's really too much. All right, here I just wanted to show you that you could basically just create a new account, a new Google account, and what you would need to do after you created your account, this is just the dev account I created, you would have to go to security, this thing, less secure app access, you would have to keep it on. So I turned it on, it was off. Obviously it's not the best practice and it's just to try it out. It's probably better to use the Google API. But this is just super simple to start with. So that's how you do it. So an emailer would have a subject. So the title, right, of the email. It would have a from address. So subject would be a string, from address would be a string as well. To address would be a string. We would need an SMTP server. We're going to use the Google one, so that would be smtp.gmail.com. And we're going to need port. That would be equal to 465. So basically to address, you'll just put your email here. So mymail, gmail.com. And from address would be my dev, with the subject, because we have to have the subject in it. So let's just say self.subject equals subject coming from subject. So when we will create it with the subject title. Okay, now we'll go ahead and create the email. So create the email message. So we will say message is, email message. And now we're gonna start filling out the details. So we'll have message and then subject. It all has to be capitalized here. Would be self.subject. Message from would be self.from address, and message to would be self.to address. The content of the message, we could put it here. We could also initialize it the same way. For now, it doesn't really it doesn't really matter. So let's just say an F string. Don't miss it here. And then we can have the URL. Okay. So we'll have message.setContent to be content, as simple as that. Then we'll return message, and we're basically finished creating the message. And we could also say that content is this thing. Well, we don't really need to specify that, but why not? So here we'll have self.content. All right. Let's also specify the subject here because it doesn't really matter your favorite Lulu leggings are on discount. And then we don't even need to do that because it's not going to change, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, now we want to be able to send the email. Here we'll have a debugging server we're going to start with, and then we're going to do it for real. So let's just get a new terminal and run this line to start the debugging server. So we have the debugging server running, and what we want to do is create a server. Again, this is just the debugging server, it's the test, and then we'll do it the real way. So we have server, we're taking it from smtplib that we imported, smtp, and we're gonna run it on localhost and this port. And then we're gonna ask from the server to send message with the message. Yeah, so first we actually need to construct the message. Message would be equal to self dot create message. And here we're gonna put the message, and then we're just gonna quit the server. All right, and let's try it out. So basically, if we run the script, we're gonna call prices, and then we're gonna call alert, which at the moment won't do anything. So let's, besides printing, also call alert. So we will have to create emailer, and then call send email. And that's it. We don't need to put anything here. Okay, so as we can see, we console logged, or we printed it here, and then in the terminal, we have, let me move myself up. So we have the message, we'll have don't miss it here with the link, and this is from and to, and this is the subject. Perfect, that's exactly what we wanted. So now let's do it for real. I'm gonna change the email to be my email, or just a dev account that I opened. I'm gonna move myself here. All right. So now we don't want to try it out. We want to actually send the email. So what we need to do is create a context manager with smtplib. So with smtplib dot smtp SSL. So we're going to create a secure connection. So that would be self.smtp server and self.port and context. Now we need to create context. So let's create it right here. Context would be basically the SSL create default context. That's it. So that's the context of the SSL in order to create a secure SMTP connection and send the email through it. And here we, let's call it server. So as server. And here we're going to do server dot login. And here in the login, we need to have the email. So that would be from. So that would be self.from address and password. Now password, we would want to take from the input. We don't want to save it here like we saved the rest of the stuff. So let's just say password is equal to get pass. And here we can say type your password oops, password here. And getPass is something we need to import. I can do it here automatically. And we will get from getPass, import getPass. And let's see how it works. First we log in, then server.send message with the message we constructed above, and then server.quit. And that should be it. Then we'll have to see a prompt asking for the password, and this thing could work. So let me just change the address here. Let's check it out. Okay, I'm gonna now let's see if I got the message. All right, and here you can see that I got the message I sent to myself. It says me here because the from and the to address are the same, but basically you could see we have the link and everything we wanted. So yeah, here we go. So basically the next thing that we would want to do from here is to create a cron job and schedule it to run basically every set amount of time, whether it's every day, every week, every month. And yeah, if that would be interesting, I could upload a short video showing that. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments below. Again, you'll see everything on GitHub and in the Medium article to follow it step by step also. I'll see you guys in the next video. So when we initialize this emailer,